Hi, I'm Debbi DiMaggio. Welcome to podcast number 3, Mastering the Art of Real Estate. Today, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Leslie Simmons, who works and lives between Birmingham, Alabama, and Alys Beach, Florida. Thank you, Leslie, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Debbie. It's so good to see you again.
So exciting. It's just being online like this makes us so close, even though we're across the country.
Absolutely.
Introduce you today, Leslie Simon, realtor and designer with the Colgan Simon Wright Group, Corcoran Reverie, and partner with Colgan Simon Interior Design. With over 25 years of experience as an executive in the music industry, Leslie Simon is acutely aware of the importance of negotiations and managing the business aspects of a creative project. As Colgan Simon and Colgan Simon Wright's real estate, finance, and logistics lead, Leslie works closely with clients to build trust and cohesion throughout every transaction and creative project. Leslie quickly became one of the leading luxury property specialists in Northwest Florida after launching Colgan Simon with Tyler Colgan in 2020. And in 2024, Stacy Wright joined Leslie and Tyler to complete the real estate team Colgan Simon Wright. Leslie's passion for real estate and the design process and her attention to detail are the foundation for Colgan Simon Wright's project execution. Her acumen allows the businesses to work with ease and efficiency in each stage of purchasing, planning, construction, design, and implementation. Leslie and her husband, Robert, live between their homes in Alys Beach, Florida, and Birmingham, Alabama. Wow, you are busy. And I remember the first time we spoke on Zoom. Well, we met in person, but when
Right.
we spoke on Zoom, I was just completely overwhelmed. And as a realtor, we're so busy. And then you do the design, and then you guys are sitting there looking so elegant in these beautiful spaces. And I'm like, this can't be true. They can't be doing all this. Plus, going back and forth on an airplane between the two cities. So
Crazy.
I don't know how you do it, and I think we'll learn a little bit more today. Leslie and I met in Nashville at the Corcoran National Conference. She was a speaker as well. I was on the marketing panelist, and Leslie spoke at a good, timely topic actually for today. She spoke about work in a changing market. So we will touch on that later. But let's first speak about how you got into business. And the new thing I didn't know about was your music background. So that was
Yeah.
super interesting. So you
Yeah.
definitely have a niche. So let's hear it.
So I spent my entire career really in the music industry, 25 years. I started, at the very bottom as an assistant and worked my way up over that time. So I was in the head of promotion for Arista Records. And then I went on to be the general manager of a small record label, and just loved it. I mean, I loved the industry. I loved being a part of it. I loved the creativity of it. And I was really lucky to be able to work with a lot of different artists, a lot of different music over those 25 years, and really to be a part of some special number ones and albums and tours and all of those kinds of things. So when COVID hit, though, in 2020, the music industry shut down. I mean, all of the tours ended or stopped, and I just could not sit still. It was really hard to go from 25 years of working at that kind of a pace to nothing. And my husband is a developer. We were down in Florida. We decided to go to Florida literally the day they shut everything down. We went to the Florida house and we're like, we're just going to stay here for a little bit. And while we were there, I was looking at property and I was like, I don't want to just look at property. I want to really do this like you do it, but on the residential side. And so I quickly got licensed and just started working immediately. I mean, I was really lucky that I knew that market very well. And I had a lot of friends down there. And so immediately my first clients were referrals and friends. And that's how I got started.
Wow. That's amazing. I didn't know that. You just
Yeah.
came up on stage like you were the expert. You'd been doing it for 35 years, and wow. And it happened that fast. That's pretty incredible.
It happened
When-
really quick. Now, I do have my husband, luckily, really teaches me so much as I go, and just watching him on the commercial and development side for the last 10 years has been amazing. I mean, the types of deals he does and the large, um, big urban anchor and mixed use has really taught me so much about the industry. But I personally prefer the residential side because I just love homes and design um, and everything about helping somebody find their dream beach house.
Well, so you definitely have a lot of knowledge because of your husband. So that makes a lot of sense. Plus, in what you did in the music industry, I mean, it's all very similar. We're working hard for people, we're juggling a lot. I'm going to skip questions. I was going to go on to something else, but now that you were speaking about juggling and everything, now you have cancer, I believe. And
I do.
how do you juggle everything you do and look as good and smiley as you do? How do you do it? I mean, it's real estate is not for the faint of heart.
It is not for the faint of heart. And no matter what market you're in, it's not for the faint of heart. Especially in the last year when we saw rates go through the roof and definitely some uncertainty from an economic perspective. That changed things, I think, for a lot of people, especially in the market where I am. I mean, in Northwest Florida, we were just cranking on all cylinders, and it felt like we kind of came to a little bit of a halt last year. But, gosh, I feel like everybody has a challenge in their life. We all have different ones. This just happens to be mine. And I've kind of gotten accustomed to living with it. I was diagnosed in 2017 with breast cancer. I went into remission, went through chemo and surgery and all that, and was in remission for 4 years. And it was shocking when it came back in 2021. I was in the middle of crazy busy year work wise. I was still actually in the music business and out on tour. And then I was also doing real estate, and I had the design company launching. So we were really, really busy at that time. And what I felt like when I would finish treatment is all I wanted was normalcy. And for me, normalcy was working and doing something that I really loved. And so what made me so passionate about getting back to work was feeling normal and not feeling like a patient. So I've just kind of learned how to manage through the diagnosis, and Lord knows we have plenty of ups and downs. The last year, we've had a lot of struggles. I mean, it's metastasized throughout my body. I'm stage 4. This is the look for the rest of my life. I mean, I'm not going to have hair again. And so I've had to acclimate to that. And while that seems like a little thing, I mean, it's kind of a big thing when you're a woman who's had long red hair her whole life. Just like we all have to find our strength when we go through something difficult. For me, a big part of my strength is my husband, my family, my friends, and my work. And those are the things that really keep me going.
Well, you do an amazing job and you look great. And you sent me the photo of you in the wig, and it was awesome. You wear it well.
Thank you. My sister-in-law sent me a text this week, and she's like, let's go wig shopping and find some different ones so we can just change it up. I'm like, okay, that'll be great. So we're going to go shopping for wigs.
Well, it looks great. Well, I just love your positive attitude. It's amazing. And I'm going to skip another question and go right to so you're not doing music anymore, right? You've stopped that.
Yeah.
You're still doing that.
No, I had to retire from that. I will say treatment in the last probably 18 months has gotten much harder. So I did retire from the music industry at the end of 2022, and still have very dear friends there, but there was no way for me to keep up with my treatments and everything else that I was doing. So that was what I really needed to let go.
You did it all. You did it all for a while. So
Yeah.
as a realtor, super busy, and you work between two markets. So I want to touch on how does that work? How do you work between two totally different cities?
Mhm.
And let's talk about how the heck are you doing design as well? And is it just for the clients that you're serving or in real estate, or is it a totally separate branch? So going
Yeah.
between the two cities and bringing the design.
So really going between the two cities, I don't sell in Alabama. I only sell real estate down in Florida, which is nice. I'm actually in the process of building a new home in Alabama and I'm about to sell my home in Alabama. So I have a dear friend who is my agent in Alabama. In Florida, that's where I do all of the real estate business. And the design business is in Florida, but we also have clients in other cities as well. So all of my treatment, though, I do in Birmingham. So, like, I'm in Birmingham right now. It's really important for me to be back here. My husband's companies are based out of Birmingham, and mine are based out of Florida. So, we're constantly just back and forth between the two cities, but primarily I'm in Birmingham when I have treatment, and then I do my recovery, and then I go back down to Florida. So that makes it a little easier that I'm not trying to juggle real estate clients in Alabama as well. On the design side, Tyler, my business partner, she is a brilliant interior designer. She was actually my interior designer before we became business partners. And so I was launching the real estate company, and we decided that we were going to launch the design firm together as well. I mean, she's got her master's from UCLA. She's just really, really so incredibly talented at what she does. And I'm really the support and, the numbers person, the business person. I just love it so much that it has been so fun to be able to take my passion and turn it into a business and to be able to work with her. We actually just did my home in Alys Beach, and it was a 3-year process. We moved in November. We were actually just featured in the Alys Gazette, which is the newspaper for Alys Beach. And I couldn't be more proud of this project because Tyler and I and my husband and Tyler's husband, who is our architect, we really collaborated on that project. And it was so inspiring. And it's, when I go down to Florida, I walk into the most beautiful respite in the world. And it's just everything that I dreamed of. And so for us now, it's really, really fun to bring clients into my home and to show them what we do. I mean, they can see it on pictures on our website, but when you walk into a space and you can touch and feel the fabrics and the textures and all of the different finishes, I think it makes a huge difference. And it also really allows somebody to envision what they can turn a home into. Because in Florida, I mean, in the Panhandle, we sell most of our homes furnished. People are coming in for a second home. So, they want to come in and have a turnkey real estate transaction and be able to walk in with their suitcase and their toothbrush. And so it's really, really fun on the design side to be able to integrate the two businesses together and to be able to bring clients in and show them how we can go from start to finish, or how we can help them find a resale. And if the furnishings aren't exactly what they're looking for, we can help them sell those and really come in and have a whole new look that feels like theirs.
Okay, now that makes a lot more sense because when you're
Yeah.
talking, of course, as a realtor in my area, I'm thinking, and I don't know Alys Beach, I'm getting to learn it now. So it sounds like it's like you said, it's more of a second home. People
Mhm.
come, like you, to come unload, unlock, just totally have respite and just be there and enjoy. And so I'm in an area in the San Francisco Bay Area where people are moving with their families, and
Right.
they'll buy a house and eventually they'll get around to redoing it. And it's not so, I mean, it's urgent, but not as urgent if it's a second home and this is where you're going to come to unwind.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense. So a lot of your clients, so there's new homes and old homes, or is it all newer homes, or
So
what's?
The beauty of 30A, which is 30A is a 30-mile section between Destin and Panama City, Florida, and the Panhandle. And we have several different communities, tons of different communities down there. So we have some communities that are really heavily investment properties and a lot of rentals. Alys Beach happens to be more, it's only about 18 to 20% rental community. So a lot of second homeowners. But really since COVID, we have a lot of people that have moved to Florida permanently and are full-time residents. So that's brought on even more communities that are non-rental communities or restricted short-term rental communities. And that's changed the dynamic a little bit. So I think the beauty of where we are is we have such a plethora of buyers and sellers. We really do have any kind of property you're looking for. If you're looking to be there forever and you want to be on the bay and you want to have a boat, great. We can find you a gated non-rental community or a short-term restricted community where you can have your boat and a marina and a dock and all of those things. Or if you want just a second home that's your respite, we can help you find that. There's so many people that are coming down as investors and really looking for that property that they can keep in the rental pool, but then use a couple of times a year. And we have all of those as well. And the other really neat thing about 30A, which is really the area that I specialize in, is we do have a height restriction. So we don't have a lot of high-rise condos. We have kind of 2 that were grandfathered in, but other than that, everything is 4 stories. So we have this amazing area, and then we have a nature preserve on kind of the north side of it, a big state park. So there's only so much land down there. And it really allows people to find this a great little quiet niche, so you feel like you're in these tiny little beach towns, and it's just one of the most heavenly places on earth. Plus we have the white sand that's just like powder. It feels more like the Caribbean than it does when you're looking at the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, I just booked my 60th birthday to Mexico City, and now I wish I booked it there.
You have to come visit us.
Listening to you about the beaches. And so you sent me I saw some photographs on your website. You sent me some of your listings, and they were, they were just very expensive, 5 million more. What on the lower end for like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot to, the higher end? What are the price points? Gives people an idea of looks like.
The beauty is you can get something that's 3 bedrooms under $1 million. It just depends on what area that you're in, because it's pretty expansive. There are some areas. The 30A area is going to be more expensive than Panama City or Destin, and those are really more cities for us. But you can really find just about anything. I mean, we go up to 30 million, for a Gulf front home. You can easily find a house for 30 million, but you can also find a condo for 500,000. And so it's hard to find a water view for under $1 million, or at least you're not going to really find Gulf front for under $1 million, but you can start in that $1 million range and still see water. But it's such a plethora of options, which is what I love. We have the bay, we have the Gulf, we have where the bay and Gulf come together, we have dune lakes. So if you like to be in a warm climate and put your toes in the sand and see some kind of water, we've got options.
It sounds amazing. What's the main airport? I know, the Miami area. What's the airport you fly in to get to Alys Beach?
So we typically fly into, it's ECP, which is the Panama City Beach Airport, Northwest Florida Airport. But we also have airports in Destin, and we have in Fort Walton. So we have different ones that you can fly into, and there are several private FBOs as well.
Clearly, I'm from California asking you all these questions. Okay, we are going to take a commercial break, and we will be right back with Leslie.
Mike Zorich, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorich, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorich has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hello, welcome back to Mastering the Art of Real Estate. I'm here with Leslie Simons from Alys Beach, Florida. So now we're going to go into some of the real estate, not the beauty of it, but the hard nuts and bolts of real estate. So how do you generate leads and find potential clients in the real estate industry?
So what I've been really lucky in my real estate career that every one of my clients have come from a referral. So it is all friends and then repeat buyers and friends of friends. And so we've been really, really lucky that way. Obviously there are so many ways to generate leads. We have friends down on 30A who most all of their leads come from social media. And I love seeing that. It's not my personal forte. I'm not great at it. And so I love watching and seeing what other agents are doing and how they are really sharing. I don't even want to say selling. They're sharing what our community is. And it's such a special community and so many people vacation down there that they really help vacationers and tourists learn about where we live, and they generate leads that way. And you really see that turn into not just clients, but friends, because we're a market where they're not necessarily living full time, we become their resource for more than just finding a home. They need a reservation and they're not sure where to go on a super busy weekend. And we'll get a text that says, where's the best place to eat? What's the best place to go for dinner? Where should I take my friends for brunch that are coming in this weekend? What's the best place to go shopping? I mean, with Tyler and I, we get asked all the time, where do we go find furniture? What's the best place to go, decorate our house down here? So, you really find yourself connecting with people on such a human level. We have several clubs and beach clubs and golf clubs and those types of things. And so we meet friends there and help connect people and bring them into those clubs as well, so that they have those experiences and those amenities when they're down enjoying their vacation. So it really is a word of mouth and just a human connection, which is one of the things I love most about what I do.
Exactly. That's why we're here doing this podcast, because I get to connect with realtors from around the world. It's the best way on referrals, whether it's through your clients or through other agents, there's nothing like it. I just closed a deal with Mala Sander in Southampton, and I
Yeah.
heard her after meeting her at the Nashville conference. And so talking about the networking part and the referral part, but then taking the second half of what you spoke about, social media. I love social media because it's so creative and visual, and I'm so visual. So it's so fun for me to watch and try to create and make it just as beautiful. But when we were in Southampton, I was with my client in Southampton, New York, and we were looking for something to do. And I saw Mala had on social media, we're going to be in, I can't remember what island it was. They were going to be somewhere for dinner. And I'm like, that sounds fun. And then we got a book reservation for something I also saw she happened to post that day we were there. So it really helps. I know some people don't like social media, but it is a way, such a great way to educate people, and especially about our community. I'm going to go on, give me the name of that person who does really good social media, and Alys Beach. So I could see what it's all about, because social media is a way to educate people, and that's how I find new places to travel to or where to go and what to experience.
Absolutely.
I think the world is so fun. There's so much out there, and social media brings it to us, and I think it's so fun. So
It really does.
and good for referrals, getting your business through referrals. That's what we all aspire to. Everyone wants to get to that point.
We've been really, really fortunate in that regard. And I'll tell you, I love that you just spoke about Mala, because we started going to the Hamptons in the summer for a week. The last couple of years we've gone, and we've had such a great trip, and we've gone with some of our friends from Florida. And when I go up there, the first thing I did was reach out to Mala, and I love following her on socials. It's so fun to see all those fabulous houses up in that area. And I'm with you. I mean, I saw her post at a restaurant up in Montauk, and we all went there, after we saw her post about it. So it's really, really fun to follow our friends in real estate and see the absolutely stunning homes in these different markets, but also to see how the locals live and be able to do that when we're visiting.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. What marketing strategies do you use to promote and showcase those gorgeous properties that you have?
We have several different ways down here. I mean, one thing is just having, broker opens and really encouraging brokers to bring their clients in, so that we have the opportunity to show them how you can entertain in these gorgeous homes. So that's certainly one of my favorite ways. Social media has changed everything. And I mean, YouTube videos, and really being able to take somebody virtually through a home and show them, I mean, everything from, upgrades, and being able to show them the difference in finishes in a home and how that changes the value. I mean, we still have people that in their minds think a comp is a comp. Every house is created equally if they're in the same neighborhood, and they really are not. And I learned that more from the design side of our business than I ever understood prior to that. But no two homes on 30A are the same. The community where I live in Alys, everything is 100% masonry. So we have homes that are all concrete. I mean, these homes are built to withstand a hurricane, because we're right in Hurricane Alley. But not every home is created that way. Obviously there's different architectural design features and aesthetic features, but when you get into a home, some homes are created as a real smart home, and everything is automated. I love being able to walk into a house and tell the house to open the blinds and turn on the lights and turn on the music, and that's fascinating. For some people, they do not want that. They want to flip a switch. My husband, I think, would rather flip the switch and not have to tell something what to do. But it's so fun to be able to see all of the differences. And what I always say, some people want to come in and they want to do a remodel, and they want to get something that needs some love and put that love into it. Other people want to walk into something that's turnkey everything is perfect in the home. They don't want to have to touch anything. They want to walk in and enjoy. And I think it's really fun to see what the buyer is, what they need and what their family wants and needs, and really what inspires them, and then help them find that exact kind of house.
So you, that's interesting. So you mentioned, because we don't have that, we're not in Hurricane Alley, but you were talking about the masonry houses and then other houses. Like, is it, you have two houses that are just as beautiful, but one is made, stronger to withstand hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be a higher value? Would that be a higher
It's
price?
going to be a higher value because the cost to build is going to be significantly higher. I mean, so if you're building a home that is a masonry home, you may be spending $1,100 a foot to build the house. If you're building a home that is framing, you may be able to build that house for, $400, $500 a foot. So it's a significant cost difference in that build. But I think, what that allows is it allows for people that are looking in any different price point to be able to come in and find something that works for them. It doesn't mean that the frame houses aren't well-built, strong, sturdy houses. Obviously, we have codes in Florida that are required, building codes that are required. But, I love having a masonry house. I was actually in my house when a tornado came through a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and I was talking on the phone to a friend, and she was like, "Are you in the powder room? Are you in your?" And I was like, "No, I'm standing in my living room, watching the storm." And I just felt so safe in my home, which I love. But it doesn't have to be a masonry home to be a strong, sturdy house. And that's one thing I love about, the codes of where we live, the building codes, and what's required is you can build an affordable house in a place where you do have storms and still feel safe in your home.
Yeah. Well, it's super important just for people who are listening, whether you're an agent wanting to refer to you, or if you're a home buyer or seller, you have to work with, it just points out, you have to work with someone who knows what they're doing, like yourself. These are things that we don't deal with in our area, and a buyer seller coming in or an agent looking to refer, you want to refer to someone like Leslie who knows what she's doing and has a lot of development background from her husband. So I'm sure you go to him a lot to get some help.
All the time. Every time I have a question, I'm like, "Hey, what would you do in this situation?" And he always gives me great advice.
Exactly. I mean, it's so important. Can you share any unique or creative ways you've used to market a property to attract buyers? Anything, that might have been, because it was, when we have really fabulous properties, that gives us, we can be a little bit more creative. So is there anything that comes to mind?
One thing that we try to do, especially, sometimes we'll start a property off market and it'll be coming soon. And so before it goes into the MLS system, we'll create a website for it. And so we have a website for a property that we're able to then share, and I love showcasing those. It's just such a nice way to be able to take a property and make it feel so real and tangible for somebody all the way across the country. That's really just such a fun thing to do. And then some of the video content that we do, we have a guy that works with us at Cork and Reverie that comes in, and he'll shoot video content of the area and of, he'll interview the agent, we did an interview with homeowners in the community, the HOA president, and really showcased a community that was not as well known, and then had open houses and broker opens and parties. It's really fun to have a great party to bring the real buyers in to come and see a home, and be able to show them video content that goes along with that and really help them experience living the lifestyle. And that's something that I just have loved to watch and enjoy being a part of.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that, interviewing the local people, and just so people can see other people who live there and get a feel for what's happening and who's there. And then for the parties, since it is, well, since COVID, I know people live there more full time, a little bit more. And then there are the people who are vacationing there. So when you have these parties, do you reach out to people who might be visiting somehow to get them to come to your launch party?
Yeah. And typically we do it through agents. So we're having agents bring people in, which is such a great way to do it. But love doing that and letting people touch and feel and see. And we really try to, you want them to be intimate, but you also you want somebody to be able to feel and experience what it's like to live in that community, that home, to be able to walk out on their front porch and look at the Gulf and the sunset and all of those lovely, lovely things. So it's really, really fun to be able to have those experiences. We also will partner, with restaurants, local restaurants and local vendors in the area. A friend of mine did an event a week ago. She has a gorgeous Gulfront property, and she had a jewelry designer come in and did a showcase with all of the jewelry. And it was a big weekend down at the beach. It was the wine festival weekend. And so she really advertised it to all of the women in this community that wanted to come in and see the jewelry. And it was such a great way to showcase this stunning house and also to connect this jewelry designer with all of these buyers. So loved her idea of doing that. I thought that was really, really a special way to showcase both the house and the vendor that she wanted to showcase.
That's great. It reminds me of an article we were written about. It said, to sell a house, the heading was, to sell a house, they throw a party. Right?
It's a great way to sell a house.
Yeah,
When people come and they see how they can make it their own and entertain their friends and family, I mean, it brings it to life. And I
Yes.
think that's what's so important. A home is where you live, and it's where you entertain, and it's where, you want to feel warm and cozy. And to be able to show somebody how you can make a property a home and a respite, I think is one of the best things that we're able to do in our profession.
It's so true. And what I just flashed in that article, I said, the home is the life of the party. And the photographer has this great shot. It's dark outside, and inside you can see the lights and the people standing, and it's like, and the home and it was a home we had on the market, and we threw this little cocktail party, and the neighbors were coming and other agents, and it was, the home is the life of the party. But I
love that. I love that. I might do that, Debbie. I love it.
Too. Have you implemented any technology or tools that have significantly improved your business operations? So maybe something that gets you organized, maybe something that, we have so many apps and we're getting hit up all the time, people trying to sell realtors things. So maybe there's something that you use to get organized or to promote your business.
I have to be honest, that is not my favorite thing. But as we've just expanded our team, we added Stacy Wright, who's a just fantastic agent down in this area, to the team with Tyler and I. We actually were on the phone this morning, and we're about to hire an assistant who is going to oversee all of our marketing so that she can implement those things for us. Because, I think also with Tyler being a designer, we're such tactile people, and we're really, touchy feely. And, I'm 50, almost 52 years old. And so for me, social media is something that I use, and I certainly am looking at it all the time. But as far as content creation, I want someone else to do that who is really an expert at that. I'm all about hiring experts in their area, realtors, designers, and social media people and content creators. So I have loved watching other people do it, but we're just getting started on that front.
No, that's great. It's true. If you can hire, afford to hire an expert, it's great to outsource for sure.
Yeah.
Any technology or, we get these apps to organize you, or a CRM, it could be anything, and anything. It doesn't have to be social media, but is there any other tools that you use in real estate that you like?
Debbie, I'm so old school. I mean, I still keep things on spreadsheets. I have spreadsheets, and I don't even have earbuds in today. I'm like just in my
Okay.
Everybody's different that way. I think it's I think what's super important is that how you work best, and I love having people that can do all of that and help keep me organized in that way. But I'm very, very organized. People walk into my house and they're like, "Do you live like this all the time?" And I do. And it just makes me feel better. So I am a touchy-feely person who wants to physically write something down. You would laugh. I have a stack of notebooks. I'm trying to get in front of the camera. That's like literally 8 inches tall, that are just notebooks that I keep for different things. So I'm a bit archaic in that sense, but I have people around me that are a lot more technically savvy, and they really help in their way of organizing, and I keep mine. I mean, Excel spreadsheets are still my baby.
Me too. Google spreadsheet. I use them. I have thousands of them. It drives my son crazy. He's been working with us, and he's like, "Do you have to have 6 different ones across like 6 different emails?" No. What I was going to say was, my partner says, it takes all kinds of people to sell all kinds of real estate, and we all do it differently. We all do that. And then my husband says we all do the same thing differently. We all have our ways. My husband likes to be front and center in the office. I like to be on the fly. So I think that's a really good answer. You do it your way. Well, we are going to take a commercial break. We could talk forever. And thank you for joining us. And we'll be right back.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth, and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hi, I'm Debbi DiMaggio. Thank you for coming back with us. We're here with Leslie Simons of Alys Beach, Florida. A beautiful place. It's just in my mind. I can't wait to get off and start Googling it and putting my sand virtually into my toes into the beach. Let's move on. We're going to be at the end of this hour in no time. What is your approach to networking and building relationships with other real estate professionals in the industry?
So they do a really great thing down on 30A and in our part of Florida, they do a tour every Wednesday of different kind of sections. And it's a really wonderful place to network and to meet other agents. I've also found that, for the most part, everybody really, because we're a small community, I mean, really pretty small. I mean, you're thinking about 30 miles that we're kind of up and down. So everyone really gets to know each other very well. We all see each other at the same events. And I mean, and they're not even realtor events, just community events. We're all going to the same places and we're seeing each other on the tour. And it's been a wonderful way to get to know other agents in the area. And then also really, it's so fun to find like-minded people. I mean, our brokerage is fantastic. Hillary and Jacob have done such a great job of putting together a team that really feels like a family. And so in the Cork and Reverie group, we all work very closely together and really have built some strong relationships just inside the brokerage.
That's awesome. No, it's so great. How do you handle negotiations with clients and other agents to ensure a successful transaction?
I have always just said the most important thing is to be transparent and honest and respectful in everything that you do. And so if you just walk into every situation, whether it's a transaction, a negotiation, a business meeting, or anything, I mean, if you have that mentality of, love and respect for the person that you're in the room with and that you're communicating with, and honesty and transparency and integrity, you're moving in the right direction. At the end of the day, you want everyone to be happy. You want the seller to be happy. You want the buyer to be happy. You want them to walk away excited to be in a new home, move on from a home to the next place. And so you really do want to see people. I mean, we're in the middle of a transaction right now, and the seller has said, please give the buyer my email address so we can talk and I can answer any questions that he may have on this home. We've loved the home so much, and we're so excited for them to now love the home. And we see a lot of people in our community buying a home, and then maybe a year or two later, they decide they want something bigger or they want something smaller. And so they're moving on in a short amount of time. And so in that, they want to make sure that the person that's coming in loves and enjoys it the way they did. And so I think, one other thing is just making sure that you're working with like-minded people. I mean, you don't have to take every single client. You don't have to work with everybody that comes your way. Work with people that are like-minded and that, really look at business the same way and look at human relationship the same way, because it has to be fun and it has to be a positive experience. Now, it doesn't mean some circumstances don't come with their challenges. They certainly do. But when you're honest and you're dealing with people as in a respectful way as human beings, I think that you can get through just about anything.
I love that. That is 100% true. And it's not just our client and your client. We all work together, and we're just trying to help and make sure yes, there's negotiation stuff, but we're just trying to be kind. However you're doing it, deliver messages kindly, right? Be respectful, communicate, if we can. A lot of times people hide behind texts or emails, and yes, that's efficient sometimes, but sometimes you need to pick up the phone and you have to hear the inflection. I mean, I'm sure you're smiling. I know you've had experiences when you're like, if you just picked up the phone, we could have a conversation.
I told you, I'm so old school. I'm the one that picks up the phone. I'm like, I just want to talk. It just is so much easier if we talk, because in texting, and also half the time my phone is auto-correcting to something that I'm like, what in the world did it just say? So I would much rather get on the phone and talk through something and then put it all in email so that we have the paper trail afterwards. But
Exactly.
when you communicate with somebody in that way, and I love that you said kind, there's not anything more important than kindness.
Yes, I'm going to end on that. That is so true. Okay, so you were on the panel in Nashville, and you spoke about how to evolve in a changing market. And when we spoke after the conference, I didn't hear I wasn't, I think, in backstage when you spoke, so I didn't get to hear it. And it's such a great topic because it does freak people out, because we have been evolving with rates and war and economy and politics and everything. So I really want to hear. And I didn't know, like looking at those homes that you were sending, I'm like, oh my God, it looks like it's Nirvana down there. Everything sells, everything's perfect. There is no changing market. So, okay, how do you thrive in a changing market, and what do you do?
I think the biggest thing is being able to pivot, and being able to pivot into, instead of trying to get bigger and expand our reach. When things started to slow down, we went the opposite way. We actually tried to make that, we made our area and focus smaller. And we also really tried to help people who, there were a lot of people that were thinking, okay, well, maybe this is the time for me to build, because I don't have to have all that capital up front. I can, get a construction loan. I can take my time. And that really allowed us to integrate the design work into the real estate work. And, we don't do design business for all of our clients. I mean, they're two separate divisions. And so, what we really tried to do was say, the people that are coming to us, what are they looking for? And how do we, instead of trying to get larger, how do we get better in a more narrow focus? And that worked really well for us. And so we've expanded our team, and we had a lot of buyers. We have more listings now. I mean, so it's just a change in what we were doing, but it's been a really welcome change because we're learning through it. We're growing, we're getting better, we're getting, we've added on to the team, and we're able to integrate in the design and that really creative part of what we love into the real estate. And it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I mean, what's so great is you have beautiful properties, and people are going to use you for your design, and you sell the house, or well, before you sell it, maybe you've really done a beautiful job designing it. So it just makes it so much more fun and so much more photographical. Is that the word? Okay. We are going to go to my favorite, is the rapid fire questions, life of a real estate agent, in this case in Alys Beach. 1, where do your buyers feed from? What areas? Where do they come from?
Ours come from Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Chicago. It's really expanded because we're not just Alys. We're all of 30A. I just happen to live in Alys. We really do have a lot of people come in, but we also, you see articles right now in, Garden and Gun. There's been a lot of press on Alys Beach because it's such a really beautiful, architecturally designed community. So we get a lot of press that's going on for our area, and that's really nice. So we now are seeing people come from California, Texas, New York, places that we really used to be kind of a southern, southeast was coming down to us, but now it's been exposed all over, and that's been a lot of fun.
Okay, that's a lot of people coming in from a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
It's fortunate. What are 3 things you do when you wake up each morning?
I always get up and I do a morning walk on the beach. I meditate, and I have my coffee, and I write down things that I'm grateful for.
Love it. Me too. What are the most popular neighborhoods in Alys Beach?
Well, it's all along, 30A. So It's really neat. We have these old school neighborhoods like Grayton Beach and Blue Mountain Beach that were the original beach towns, but we have a lot of planned development. So we have Seaside was the original one, which is the Truman Show. So a lot of people know of where we live from the Truman Show, and that's a really famous community called Seaside. Rosemary Beach, Alys Beach, Water Sound, Watercolor. We have just all these great Sandestin, Miramar. I mean, tons of
Okay.
beach towns.
Okay, I think somehow I saw Watercolor once when I was, so that's your area or part of your
Yes.
area.
Well, that's all. We're all down in that whole area.
Well,
But then the old school beach towns like Grayton and Blue Mountain and Santa Rosa, they're just so amazing as well. So we have a little of everything.
are there any anchor companies in Alys Beach or the area? I'm sorry, or the
Yeah.
30.
St. Joe Paper Company was like really the anchor that launched so many developments. So Water Sound, we have the Water Sound Beach Club and Camp Creek Golf Clubs and Water Sound Origins. All of those are St. Joe communities, and it really expands from Port St. Joe all the way to Destin, which is it's about a 2-hour drive. So that was a significant part of where we live. And then we have Air Force bases as well. So we've got, military families as well.
Okay. What celebrities live in Alys Beach or the 30A? I correct myself.
Gosh, a lot of people have come and gone over the years. Lots of country music singers, lots of football coaches. So yeah, I'm the worst name dropper in the world. So meaning I don't really do, but there are a lot of country music singers and athletes are all over the place for sure.
I bet golfers too, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, it's an idyllic place to live for sure.
I never knew about 30A till I had a client here in Piedmont, California. And at the conference, I met her realtor from the 30A. Never knew what the 30A was, didn't get it. As you were saying, you get up in the morning, you do your meditation and all that. I do that too. One of the things I listened to was Eddie. He's a motivational speaker, Eddie Pinero. Do you know him? Do you know the name?
I'm going to have to look him up.
Amazing motivational speaker. I listen on YouTube and I love his voice, and I listened to him for hours. When I was in Southampton, I was just walking, listening for hours. But he talks about running. I just started running. He talks about running along the 30A. Oh. So now you're going to have to look him up because you probably know who he is. Anyway,
I'm definitely going to. I'm glad that you're running. I spent years as a runner, and I can't anymore. But I get out and walk instead. But it's one of the just most mind-freeing and calming things in the world to do.
Right. I just started New Year's Eve, and I've run 3 10Ks. I did my first Spartan race or Spartan Stadium obstacle course race with my son. And I haven't told my family this yet, but I signed up for the LA Marathon on March 17th.
Well, you just told them. I love that. I did the Los Angeles Marathon many, many years ago in my 20s, and I did the Maui Marathon.
Wow.
And I just absolutely loved distance running. My treatment doesn't allow it anymore, but I have to get out and move my body. I mean, I had treatment on Monday, and Wednesday morning I was up and I did 3 miles. To me, it's just an absolutely important part of my day.
Exactly. Well, how could people reach you?
They can follow us on Instagram at Colgan Simon Wright, and it's ColganSimonWright.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today on Mastering the Art of Real Estate. It was a pleasure to have you.
I love getting to see you again and getting to chat with you. And I'm just so impressed and in awe of all you do. I love watching you on social media. You're one of the ones that I like to watch. And thank
Try
you.
to.
Thank you for having me and come visit us on 30A.
I definitely will be coming to visit. I can't wait to go look at properties. I'll have to coincide with one of your fabulous listings so I can attend one of those amazing parties. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Real Estate with host Debbi DiMaggio. Here Fridays, noon Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network. Tune in to where real estate matters matter.